Good afternoon. I believe I'm going to take the advice from Bear Independent when he recommends us to, and I'm sorry, Mike Tango Whiskey, when Bear recommends us to take out our compass, shoot an azimuth, and fuck off in that general direction. And I recommend that a lot of other folks do that too. What am I talking about? Well, here's the thing. Our nation is in such a dire strait. And we were this way much before this incident happened with Charlie Kirk. We've, as a nation, been in trouble. A lot of trouble. And I'm seeing a pattern unfold. Not long ago, as they were doing different things over in the United Kingdom and the EU and whatnot. In fact, when J.D. Vance went over there and he spoke, and there was a big stink about him being there and speaking and talking about freedom, I was watching what was going on over there and at a loss as to how they could have lost so much freedom over there. I mean, they have lost almost every shred of it at this point. And I'd asked myself, well, can that happen here? Nah. See that whole, I don't know if cognitive dissonance or if it's normalcy bias or whatever, but I suffered from it. Nah. I don't see how they can get from there to there in the United States of America because of our Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, we are standing right in front of it. Right in front of it. My advice, and this is as serious as this can get, is for folks to distance themselves as much as they possibly can from extremism. And I'm talking any form of extremism, even verbal extremism, because that's where it starts. Isn't that how all this began to begin with? People opposing views, disagreeing. And I'm going to get to that pattern. Let me go ahead and tell you a little story about when I was younger. I tried to do the right thing. I wanted to do the right thing when I was young. And I was bullied. There was no two ways about it. I was bullied. Pretty heavily, actually. And, you know what they tell you, right? When somebody's bullying you? Contact, let your teacher know, let your principal know. Yeah, that doesn't work. That just causes more problems. And in some communities, you'll learn real quick that there is a protected class, and then there's you. And I learned that real damn quick. So I tried that, actually more than once, and all it ever did was cause me more problems. Well, when I tried going the other route, when somebody literally physically assaulted me, and I defended myself, I got in trouble for that too. So I couldn't do it either way, right? What am I supposed to do? You're trapped. You're trapped. And that was one of the things that I never could understand when I was growing up and going through that. What are people supposed to do? They expect people just to be victims, is what it is. They expect you to just be a victim, and if you try to do anything to defend yourself, they're going to victimize you even more. because we do live in a victim society. We live in a society to where people will pull all kinds of crap, sit there and deny it 2 seconds after they do it. And I'm innocent. I'm innocent. Didn't do nothing. We do not live in a society with any level of integrity. We live in a society of I wants or I feels. Right and wrong done went out the window a long time ago. When I say distance yourself from extremism, I mean it. I mean it. As many places as you can. YouTube, unsubscribe from channels, what have you. I've got a Discord account. Actually got 2 of them. I used one for doing camera stuff and all that. Kind of weird setup, but normally I only have 1 account for any platform, but Discord I do have 2. And I'm parked in, I don't have it on right now, so I'm like offline, but I'm like parked offline and I couldn't tell you how many servers. Lots of them. The reason I bring that up is because evidence had obviously come forward that the Charles Kirk shooter had also used Discord as a platform to communicate. Can you imagine being somebody, whether you're offline or online, you just happen to be in the same server with a whack job like that? I mean, that's all it takes. All it would take is for you to be in that same server. And not saying that just being in the server alone, you're going to wind up, but it would definitely cause you a lot of problems that you wouldn't have had if you hadn't been in the server. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing too today. I'm going to be going in and I'm going to take myself out of all the servers. There's probably a couple I'll leave myself in. But it's insane. Yesterday, in our local group, I had made a post, and I was trying to encourage dialogue between both sides. Just dialogue, not problems, not dialogue. And I'm going to tell you what, we live in a conservative town. I'm going to tell you what, there's a lot of folks that commented in that they're not really interested in dialogue. And while I understand their sentiment, at the same time, I know that there's only one way to de-escalation, and that's to put the effort in. Today, I was scrolling a little bit, and I ran across a post. I think it was posted today. Yeah, it was actually posted 3 minutes before I'd seen it. And I figured I would show it to you and read to you what it has to say. And then kind of finish up my thoughts here. If you're on this channel, you're watching this channel or whatever, the chances are probably high you're a little more conservative leaning, I would think. I couldn't guarantee that, but I would think. And if not, anybody's welcome to the channel. That's not it at all. Anybody's welcome to the channel. I do my best to try not to be too much on one side or the other. I try to just give you information to the best of my ability. Because I don't want to be a mouthpiece. I certainly am not going to be a mouthpiece for politicians or politics. Nah, I don't roll like that. But, I don't keep secret my feelings about different topics and all that. And if somebody was to try to shove me in one or the other box, I'm probably going to be shoved a little further into the red team box for now. It depends on what the subject is. If we start talking about healthcare, if we start talking about education, I'm probably going to get slam dunked into the blue box. So it kind of all depends on the topic. Why? Because I'm not a cult member. Nope, not a cult member. And I'm not a sheep. I have my own thoughts on every single different issue out there. I do not and will not follow a political party line down the list saying, oh yeah, I'm good with that, I'm good with that, I'm good with that. Now, that's what I like to call voting by color. And I think that's the majority of what happens today. So this is a statement, an official statement that came out from a group. Let me bring you up the browser view here. And this is the other side. Okay, I just want to give you just a little bit of the other side. And I know a lot of you have seen this kind of stuff. This is by far going to be from the craziest or the most shocking or anything like that. This is from a group VOP News STL. I don't know what the VOP is. Oh, Voice of the People, I think, is what the VOP is. And then STL is St. Louis. Official statement of ESOP, St. Louis County and City chapters regarding Charlie Kirk and government agencies. If you're wondering what ESOP stands for, here you go, and it's right in front of you. The Ethical Society of Police strongly condemns any and all government agencies that call for resolutions honoring Charlie Kirk's life and legacy. More division and harm will come from validating his ideas. Mr. Kirk built his platform on spreading divisive rhetoric, misinformation, and extremist ideology that undermine democratic values and harm communities across the United States. I'm just reading you what it states. Government institutions, including St. Louis County, are entrusted to serve the public interest with integrity, fairness, and respect for all citizens. By aligning themselves with figures like Charlie Kirk, agencies risk eroding public trust, lending credibility to harmful ideologies, and alienating the very communities they are sworn to serve. Taxpayer-funded agencies should not be in the business of legitimizing hate, disinformation, or political extremism. Our government must remain a space where all citizens feel respected and protected, not one that uplifts voices working to divide us. The Ethical Society of Police calls on all government bodies to frame this support as harmful, irresponsible, or contrary to public values. And I'm just going to stop right there because you get the gist of it, right? And I should never have to pre-qualify myself on stuff like this. Oh, I mean, what else can I do? I am not in any way, shape, or form a fan of Charlie Kirk. As far as, I hadn't even heard much from him up until this happened, right? He's got viewpoints that I heavily disagree with. Heavily. And that's probably why I didn't follow him or anything. But as a result of all of this stuff, I've heard quite a bit of different clips and stuff from him and what he did. And I am failing to understand where his divisive rhetoric was, where his misinformation was, where his extremist ideology was, and just how he's causing harm. I can't piece that together. That math ain't mathin'. He would literally go to a college campus and sit down at a table with people and talk. Would he give in and just agree to whatever it is that they said or whatever viewpoint they had? No, that wasn't the point. That wasn't the point. I am trying to understand, and let me tell you what, as far as extremist ideology, apparently these folks haven't seen YouTube. Holy cow. If they think that Charlie Kirk was extremist. That's mind-blowing to me. Do you know how far that moves the center point for the curve? To say that Charlie Kirk was extremist? Holy hell. But I guess they don't feel like it was extremist when he was assassinated. Is that right? I don't know. And that's why my advice to folks is to grab that compass, pay very close attention when you shoot that azimuth, and make sure that you fuck off in a good direction. Because I have a feeling that this is going to get ultra stupid. I have a feeling that this is how we lose our Constitution. Because you already have things being said by Pam Bondi and others that would indicate, I don't know, the safety and security of our Constitution at this particular point in time right now. I'm concerned about it, I can tell you that much. Luke Rudowski put out a video earlier, We Are Change, that talked a bit about this whole deal with the things that Pam Bondi had said. It's pretty crazy. I'm trying to find, there was another video too. Somebody was, I'm trying to think of who made the video. But there is a lot of different stuff going on with this. This is the video that Luca did. It's called FBI Whistleblower Drops Charlie Kirk Bombshell. Pam Bondi Lost the Plot. As you, I'm sure, have probably heard, they dropped the terrorism charges on Luigi Manioni, or however you say his name. You got Ian Crossland, right? Many of you might know Ian from Tim Pool's live show. You got a video, hate speech is free speech. And even though, to a point, he's correct, or, to a limit, he's correct, I would say hate speech is free speech. I would say threatening speech is not. But when you get into talking about hate speech, define that. And who gets to define that? So that's a slippery slope that we have to be careful of. And it sounds like a slippery slope that Ms. Bondi might be going down. Timcast put out a video. Elon Musk calls for arrest of liberal, calling for death of conservatives. There's a ton of this stuff going on. Back and forth. And it's both sides doing it. Both sides are doing it, and both sides are throwing their hands up and acting like they're innocent. So what do you do when you've got a society like that? I mean, my advice, and you do you, boo, but my advice would be very wary right now. I would advise people to take themselves out of any groups or anything like that that might be even considered friends, or even anything that they're idle in. Like I had mentioned Discord, I've got servers that, even though I'm offline, I'm still kind of idled in their server. I will be removing myself from those servers. Everything here at the Watchman News is going to change. I say everything. My attitude, namely. I'm not joking even a little bit when I've talked about how Mike Tango Whiskey kind of caught my attention and how I've been watching him. And while I don't want to do anything to copy him, I'm not interested in doing anything like that. I am interested in him to try to identify where it is that I am failing and where it is that I can do better. And there's one thing that stands out like a big neon sign when it comes to how he does what he does. And that is each and every video that he makes. At the beginning of that video, he sets the tone. What do I mean by that? Well, he says this is the channel for the 68%ers, the preppers that are in the meaty part of the curve, right? Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. He sets the tone. He sets the expectation every single time before he starts talking about whatever the subject is. That's genius, in my opinion. And that's one of the things that I'm going to learn to do. Because I'm both a TOTC prepper and an SHTF prepper. TOTC is Turd on the Carpet. That's Mike Tango Whiskey's acronym. That's for, not the big SHTF. And so he's a TOTC prepper, and that's who he aims his content towards, the TOTC preppers. While I most certainly covered that, I go a little deeper than that. I'm an SHTF prepper. I'm literally a pull shift prepper. I mean, that's basically what I am. And that's about as extreme in the world of prepping as you're going to get if you really kind of play out what's going to happen. But I need to include that when I make content. That I'm at a more advanced level of prepping. The long-term prepping. Not just short-term, make sure you've got some food and water and all kinds of other supplies that you might need to get through a rough time. No, I go beyond that quite far. Because when you do that, if you just stop short there of you've got some food put back and some extra supplies put back and all that, and that's it, you stop short. Well, what if those stores don't reopen? What if the fuel tanks at your gas stations no longer get filled? Then what? If you're only prepared for half of the way, it's going to put you in a pretty tight spot for the rest of the way. So, but, everybody's kind of got their own thing they're doing with that. And I respect that. But I need to clarify that at the start of my content. I need to clarify that. Because there has not been one time that he has covered anything that I have even remotely thought, that ain't gonna work. Or what about this? Or what about that? You know the reason why? Because he set that expectation from the start. From the start. I don't think you're gonna find much of a better prepping channel than Mike Tango Whiskey. I don't. That guy's, He's got it right. Anyway, I highly advise folks, distance yourself from people that may even be considered extreme. I showed you that hell, I've been called extreme as of lately. It's absolutely mind-blowing, because I'm about the furthest thing from extreme as you're going to get. I'm about as middle of the road as you're going to get. But I'm firm in my ways. I mean, I'm not going to budge. And I think some people are calling that extremism. Right? I mean, they're calling everything extremism at this point. And I personally think it would be in folks' best interest to try to get as far away from any and all of that as you can. I can't remember the Bible verse, and I really wished I could. But this battle truly isn't against nations, against principalities. This battle truly is against evil. And you got to watch evil. They're tricky. They're manipulative. They're scheming. They're snakes. Evil is snakes. And you have to be careful. Because there are snakes out there that will stop at nothing to play their little games with people. Be mindful of that. I was married to somebody like that. It's insane. Just use your head, not your emotions. Do some soul searching. And I would say, do your best just to keep moving forward, getting ready. And you let the nations and the principalities and whatnot battle it out. My advice to you is to fuck off in that general direction. And I don't mean that in a negative way at all. You let the idiots be idiots. Let the idiots be idiots. Because just like it didn't matter what I did as a kid in school, I was the one that wound up getting shit on after being picked on by a bully. Every damn time. And if you think it's any bit different now that we're adults, it's not. It's not. It's the same thing. And if you're dealing with somebody that's got a high school mentality, guess what? Just distance yourself from the extremism altogether. You're going to see, as far as this channel is concerned, a much more calm me. I'm going to stick much more to what is going on when I do cover news. I'm not coming back. I'm not going to be coming back and doing a live show every night. That's not going to happen. I'm working in my mind on what I want to do. There's probably going to be maybe one day a week I might do live or something. Maybe a Sunday or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. And whenever I think it's important to put out a video. Aside from that, I've got some projects I would like to get underway, and I would like to take you all along with me on those projects. I just gotta do it as I can, I don't make money from doing this. I'm here out of passion. Been here out of passion. I'm not here trying to get anything from anybody. I don't want money from people. I don't want your praises. I don't want your idolatry. I don't want any of that. Now, if there's anything I would want, maybe conversation, engagement, you know, those would be nice. But aside from that, no. If you want to share my content to help me get out there and get around, because I'm not in the algorithms, because YouTube, yeah, there's a lot of people that will claim that YouTube hates them and the blah, 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 and the algorithms, but you're always seeing them in the side suggested. You know what I'm saying? How often do you see me in the side suggested? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't get out there. The algorithms just ain't having it. Plus, I don't have video views. I don't have subscriber count. I don't have all the things, or any of the things for that, to actually get in the algorithm to get out there. Now, I actually did the other day, and I was floored when I made a little short, and I was absolutely floored by it. One of my shorts did hit the algorithm a little bit, but then, let's see. It's the live stream I did. The live stream I did had, I think, a pretty amazing showing. 1,200 views. Folks, I don't get that many views. So that went crazy. I don't know, but as far as the channel's concerned, you're going to see a much calmer me. You're going to see me kind of sticking to the topics a little bit more. In some ways, it's going to be a little bit more vanilla, and in other ways, it's going to be better. There's going to be more depth. So, all I can do is try to be a better person each and every day. And the other thing that I've got to do is just ignore the idiots on YouTube. I got to learn to do that. Just completely ignore the idiots on YouTube. So, it sucks. It sucks. Because there are a lot of people being misdirected. But I guess I got to let them figure that one out for themselves. What am I supposed to do? It's interesting. The good book's right. The good book is dead on. How people will love the people that should be hated and hate the people that should be loved. Spot on. How people will be lovers of themselves. Spot on. Spot on. Crazy times we live. Just be careful out there. You'll see me soon. I've got to do a video. I guess it's back behind me. I'm going to do a video on rebuilding these pods for my little Vapresso Nano. These are the Core 2X or whatever Vapresso pods. I have still yet to successfully rebuild one. I'm working on it. But I think I know where the problem is, and it's a matter of just kind of getting it worked out. So I'm going to make a video for a couple of different reasons. For one, I want to show you guys that pod system, because I like it. It's awesome. It's everything I would want for a pod system. And also, biggest reason why I'm going to make a video when I pull that pod apart is because I am going to inspect the hell out of that pod. I know that pod has not been I haven't recoiled or rewicked that pod. That pod's stock out of the pack. It needs redone. But I haven't tried to rebuild that one. So I'm going to take that one apart, and I want to get some real good video footage, detailed video footage as far as the material. I want to get a real good feel, because I want to know just how much density of cotton is in there. I want to find out why it is that when I'm rebuilding them, I'm constantly getting dry hits. And I think I've figured out probably the biggest reason, and that is the cotton that they give you in those rebuild kits is not the same cotton that's in that coil from the factory. And I guarantee you, That's the problem, because there's two things that's going to massively affect having dry hits or leaking, either one. And that is the material that you use and how dense you have it packed in there. Because you don't want it super dense, because it'll be, you'll get what they call dry hits. And you don't want it super loose, because then it'll leak. You got to get it, you got to be like the Kid Bear or whatever, You got to have it just right in the middle. And it's just with any, whatever mod you're working with, whether it's you're rebuilding one of these or whatever, you have to get used to rebuilding it. And even then, sometimes, when I re-wicked this one, day before yesterday, I threw some wicks in this one. And I couldn't get them to work right. It had been a little while since I've used this. Ever since I bought that pod system, I haven't really picked this thing up. And so I re-wicked this yesterday, and I just could not get it to straighten out and give me good hits off of it. So I wound up tearing those wicks out and re-wicking it again and taking my time with it a little bit more and finessing it a little bit more, and lo and behold, it's working like a champ. So they're tricky, and there's a big learning curve to rebuilding these. So I am not going to be defeated by that pod, though, and I'm going to figure out how to rebuild those pods, because I'm a cheap bastard, and I like to help others. I want to show other people the trick to it in order to get it to where it tastes good and doesn't leak. So, gotta be working on that real soon here. Anyway, I will talk to you all later. Hope everybody has a good one, and be careful. Be careful. Don't play into people's games. I would highly advise you not to play into people's games, because there are a lot of people playing games. Anyway, I will see you all soon. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Shalom.